Hey there, kids. It's me, Oni the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the Ohno radio show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, $1 million if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my God, we have a new champion! Yes, welcome back to yet another edition of Oh No Wrestling. My name is Owen and I am your Sharp Break Kid, and tonight I am only joined by, but I say only in the best possible way, because he is our reigning, defending predictions champion, the one and only Duncan, King of Bong Style. You did it, man. You doubt yourself so much, and look at you. You've become so strong that you're winning when you don't even expect to win. It's quite the turn of events.
It really is. I feel like this is the best gimmick for me, is just self-deprecation leading to just inadvertent dominance.
Is that ever happened? Is that
I was just thinking about that. I was literally,
I'm
like, has anybody done this gimmick before? Where they're just like, I'm not gonna win.
Right. Like, or just maybe not even I'm not gonna win, but
this isn't the guarantee that this one's in my favor.
Like for instance, when the closest thing I can really compare it to would maybe be a bit of 1-2-3 Kid Razor Ramon. Like, he does have the heart where he still thinks he can win, but he's not sure that he can win. He even knows it's a fluke when he pins Razor.
Yeah,
right.
Like, he has that holy shit, and now I gotta go.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get beat up.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's the closest thing I can compare it to, and I feel like, but it's never really been done where someone's like a small guy has looked at the Goliath and been like, I'm definitely. Well, it has happened where they're like, I'm definitely am gonna lose this, and they lose, like every squash match type thing.
Yeah, like Zach Gowen versus anybody.
Right. But then on the other side, I don't think it's ever happened where they're like, oh, like this isn't looking good for me, and they are able to turn it around and actually win. Yeah, I don't know. There might be actually some meat on the bone for a sympathetic baby face to kind of take a gimmick like that and run with it.
You might be 100% right about that.
It kind of, there's something weird about it that I feel it could actually work, and then over time that character could actually become like way too big for his britches and
the
cocky.
James Ellsworth, any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
That's pretty, it is kind of, that's probably the closest to, that's probably the closest you can get to it. I think that's closer than the 1-2-3 Kid comparison, but yeah, all right, well, what a way to start.
What a way to start.
We are indeed, I've got Rampage on in the background, going to try and give you any important updates as they come.
We are missing our Canadian compadre. The modern day Maharaja could not join us tonight, but hopefully next time we are doing a show, we will be a full Freebird squad.
Absolutely. But it needed to be done. We needed to get this show out because there's so much going on, not only with AEW, but of course WWE.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I was fucking off to the tribal chief island. That's what you do when you have the title. You just get the jet just shows up. It literally pulled up in front of my house. I was like, fuck, how'd you fit there? and then we just go, and
A
it's
lot of good food,
a lot of good food, a lot of oos.
weird
There's a lot of
tattoos, a lot of weird tattoos.
yeah, and they were just like, listen, oos, we can't, because everybody's oos, right? So it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
listen, oos, you already got enough.
Of the
We gotta,
tats. Yeah.
yeah. They're just like, we can't
They
be.
did they or did they not offer to do the traditional it's kind of, well, it's Samoan but it's not Maori, but whatever they call that style, like the and I know they do it with like the old school where they do it with like the hammer and shit, right? Like
Oh,
those.
it's a bone and a bone hammer. Yeah. So
I
that is a
heard
Maori.
I heard that they wanted to do it to your head and you were like, gotta think about it.
It was more like, I'm a big puss. If you want, I won't even lie. Look, I'm covered probably what, like 75% of my body.
Good amount.
Only have shitty spots left. I want to
Yeah.
join the head tat brotherhood. Like I do. I really do. But man, like just the thought of getting scalped with a fucking hot laser, it just doesn't really appeal to me.
Yeah. I'm
'Cause every place that I have left to get tattooed is gonna be spicy as
It's
fuck.
gonna suck. Also,
Oh,
if there are job killers in the tattoo world still, it's not the hands anymore, or job stoppers. I know that's the term.
yeah.
It,
See,
like,
look at you. I'm proud of you.
yeah, but I feel like it would, like, it's face and head now. Like those are the ones where I think
It's
people are still a little reluctant, right?
it really depends on your industry, but yeah, for the most part, yeah, dude, like it's so weird to see how prevalent hand and finger tattoos are, because it's only been like 10 years ago that
Yeah.
I went onto my hands the
Yeah,
first time.
I feel like it has been and it's been a huge change in the last 5, I want
Yeah,
to
oh yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that now, the next step of that with face and head tattoos. I think you're going to see a
It's gonna
lot more wrestlers with head and face tattoos too. I think
yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of that. Just to make sure this isn't just tattoo talk, and we should
No, but like there's been a couple of YouTube videos of Malachi Black and Brody King getting tattoos by Paul Booth.
and that's hilarious that they used like that Brody got a Darby tattoo as part of
Well,
this.
that's from the homie Chris Allen,
Right,
out in
right.
Seattle. But there's an actual I think it was done by like the Inked magazine channel or whatever. But they're in Paul Booth's shop and he's just like doing some freehand filler, and it's Paul Booth is not necessarily a wrestling fan, but he's like, he tattooed that big devil on the Undertaker's fucking
He's
arm.
done a
Like,
lot of cool tattoos that are iconic in wrestling.
he has done a lot of tattoos that are iconic in wrestling and in, I would say, sort of the heavy music scene.
Yeah.
Um,
So it totally, well, obviously, very much fits Brody King and
yeah, Brody and Malachi, and
we'll even start there a little bit because I just watched the match. It was a coffin match earlier on Dynamite, and I know you have a strong distaste for Darby, considering the, of course, allegations by it's Gigi Dolan, right?
and several others.
Several
yes,
others.
Yeah, there are multiple allegations against Darby.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the fact that like I only like a handful of straight edge people, he's not one of them.
Right.
Brody is.
Yeah, and that's interesting because they're such good friends off camera, like
Yeah.
they're really good bros. So it's like you love this one guy and they're friends, but you legitimately hate this other guy. Weird dichotomy you're in.
Yeah, I mean it really is, and you would think that I should like Darby Allin, because of like the dark, but he's just like man.
This
he's
is what I
dark
wanted to
jackass.
get. This is what I wanted to get into. Is I think that there's more than the allegations that bothers you about Darby. I think
I am just not a fan of. I feel like he's very, I don't know, his gimmick, like his I'll do anything, I'll jump off of anything, like I'll sacrifice my body. Like it just, for whatever reason, doesn't do it for me. I like seeing him
do some of this shit. Like he is.
I like seeing the things that get done to him, but
right.
But a coffin drop off a 20-foot ladder, I don't really care. I don't really give a shit about the coffin drop. I think it's a kind of dumb move.
It's kind of reckless in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I get that that's his style.
Yeah.
But he's just, you know what he is? He's Bizarro Orange Cassidy.
That's fair. Yeah. I don't think I dislike him as much as you, but he's got a lot. Like, to me, he's never gonna be believable at all as a real threat to a lot of people, and he would never be believable to me as a real heel. He like that's a bridge that I don't know that he can cross. Like he's kind of in this perpetual just thing. That's my like that his character is never really going to grow, mature. It's just what we see now is what he will be in 3 years, what he will be in 5, and maybe 10, if he can keep going to 10 more years.
Absolutely.
He's going to be doing the same
correct
thing.
About that. A big part of the thing for me is if I look at a wrestler and I'm just like, I can kick their ass, then I'm immediately like, okay, you fucking, I'm gonna write you off. You know what I mean? Like, because I look at Darby and I'm just like, listen, kid. Like, immediately he's one of those kids like who would just mouth off to me at the wrong time and be like, I will shove that skateboard up your ass.
Just for instance, to back your point up, FTR just came out. Dax looking like $1 million fucking bucks in a tank top, by the way. And like you look at a guy like Dax, like in real life, in real life, a guy like Dax walks up to Darby. I mean, or Darby, fucks with Dax.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
And it's kind of like, ooh, it's a pretty easy who you side with. And
and like you look at Dax, I look at Dax and I'm just like, that dude can fight.
We need a cornet alarm or something for this show because we're
God damn it.
Damn it. Here we go. Fuck, we corneted. God damn it.
You know what it should be? It should be a soundbite of him just going, thank you, fuck you, bye.
That's pretty good. I'll put it on the board.
I know you will. I know you'll just have the picture of Corny's face on there.
I don't think I'm allowed. I can't put the picture, but yeah, mine's not that fancy.
You can just have to. You're just gonna have to print it out.
I'll print it out and put it on there. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Fair.
I mean, dude, okay. That's another point. Is unfortunately. Cornette's not always wrong.
He's not
with a lot of the things that he says. And the older I get, I'll admit it, right? And I love AEW. I'm not like I don't shit on AEW the way that he shits on AEW. I don't get some of the, I guess, the newer things that are happening. Don't care about intergender wrestling. Love intergender wrestling. For some reason, I can suspend disbelief with that.
More than you can with Darby.
Yeah, more than I could with Darby versus Dax.
Yep. Yeah. Because it's all in the presentation, right? Like, we like all sorts of wrestling. And the thing with Darby is we're meant to try and suspend the disbelief. With the women, we just accept it for what it is. And for some reason, there's that hurdle there with a Darby that we can't quite get over. By the way, FTR and Wardlow, there was a segment just now. Looks like they may be entering as part of the Trios tournament.
Ooh.
There was the three of them standing in the ring. The FTR, Wardlow flanked by FTR, hands up, holding all their belts, and thinking maybe we want more. And that's a smart booking decision, and that's just talk about the Trios tournament. I
like that a lot.
Think about the Trios tournament.
The thing. That's a trio I didn't know I wanted.
Didn't know I wanted. Kind of fits in with their CM Punk narrative a little bit too. Wardlow and CM Punk, kayfabe, kind of like they're not necessarily friends, but they're not cool with each other, right? Like,
right.
And Wardlow's big on defending all the baby faces. I was thinking they might. I mean, clearly what they're gonna have now is Orange and Best Friends are going to be in there, and now we're going to get FTR and Orange versus Wardlow and best friends. Or sorry, other way around. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Wardlow, FTR, Orange, best friends. That will be a match that happens in this tournament based upon all the interactions that they've kind of had as well. So the thing about the trios tournament, I'm sure we're both excited for it. It's been long. Not only
it's about fucking time.
It's been long rumored. Apparently, the belts have been made for 2 years. Tony Khan said that he wasn't going to start the division until Kenny Omega could be part of it. And like,
which leads you to the question of, is Kenny going to be a part of it now?
And this is it, right? They're building an angle with, Hangman. I think I can't speak to this, but I think what happened on this episode is, we've been pussyfooting around, of course, the undisputed elite splintering from the elite, right?
Right.
And we just had that happen last week with Cole super kicking the Bucks and like all that. So now we have...
I mean, it is payback. They did kill him.
They did kill him.
They did poison him. He was dead.
He's also been a little pissed at the Young Bucks with the whole Hangman. There's been this friction there that's been going on a while. What it looked like tonight, wasn't listening because we were starting the show, but it looked like maybe that the Bucks approached Hangman to join with them, seeing as though now they don't have Cole, right? Now they're like, ooh, second best in their minds. Let's go to Hangman. It looked like Dark Order was behind Hangman, and Hangman said no, because the Bucks left very angry at the end of the segment. They were not thrilled. So I think Hangman has said, nah, brah, I'm with the Dark Order. I'm going to do something over here with these guys. I think that's what's happening, and I would, if that's not what's happening, I want that to be what's happening. Tony Khan also said that it's this particular show, Quake by the Lake.
Quake by the Lake, not to be confused with the Mistake by the Lake.
Yeah. So he said that this one was...
Which is Cleveland, for anybody who didn't know.
It was going to be, one that you have to tune into. I think that there's going to be weird little things throughout this show that are going to be important, and they need to do it, much like they need to do a lot with the Trios tournament, because All Out's not that far away. They've got, I think, 3 weeks left of TV before they get to 3 to 4 weeks, like kind of in that range.
Which is just fucking crazy.
Before we get to All Out. So they've already said that the finals of the tournament will be at All Out. Like the Trios tournament will end and the new champions, the first champions, will be crowned. So that being said, you've got kind of a lot to do. And I feel like, I guess you can put some on Rampage, but there's a lot to get going in that Trios department.
Right.
I feel like there's only been one official match named.
What was that?
I can't remember now. But this, so like the finale of the Trios is, I guess, your second match. But that's like, we don't have anything else. Like, I mean, you can make some guesses, right? It will be your world title match, which we'll get to in a second. Will obviously be on there. If Wardlow's an FDR, if they're in the finals of the Trios, I can't see them being a TNT title match then. That feels like, I don't know if he would do double duty in a night, like especially Wardlow. A lot of other guys, but I don't think you do Wardlow twice in a night. So that'll just leave so much open.
Here we go. We got first round bracket matches.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
Wow. Okay, so you got the Trust Busters versus Best Friends. I don't know who the Trust Busters are.
Busters.
Oh, that's Parker Bordeaux.
And is it Slim and Dimes?
Sure.
I think that's what it is.
Those other two. It's him and them versus Best Friends. So Best Friends in orange.
So they'll win. Best Friends.
Yeah. You have House of Black versus Dark Order.
Ooh.
So
if Hangers with Dark Order, that's gonna that's gonna be interesting and
very interesting.
and actually could splinter off if you want to keep Hangman out of the title picture. I'm all for a Alistair Hangman
Malachi.
Yeah, Malachi Hangman program.
Ooh, that would be good. I'm still interested to see what happens with this Miro thing.
Yeah, and there was something earlier I failed to mention that, Miro was doing one of his dark vignettes where he's like yelling at himself and God and shit, like he's doing one of them. And then Julia Hart popped up in the background of that vignette. So there's
interesting.
So one would think that they're still continuing that program.
Right.
So that might mean that House of Black jobs to the Dark Order. If Hanger's with them, I can see that happening.
No, if Hangman's with them, then it's more likely. But I don't necessarily think that will do much damage to House of Black.
No, as long as they move forward with a good program. One would think this is the end of the Darby thing for now. But I
would hope.
But Sting was involved and shit.
So I mean, it could now be a Sting thing. You also have Andrade, Dragon Lee, and Roosh versus the Jung Books and TBD.
Yeah, okay, that was the one. So all right, maybe it was the winner of that. Okay, who was it again? Now it was Andrade and Roosh.
Andrade, Roosh, and Dragon Lee.
Versus, them versus the Young Bucks and anyone. I mean, who do you put in there? Because that's
the question.
And this is the question: is Kenny coming back, and is Kenny in that spot? I mean, that would be
right.
It's what I hope happens. I want Kenny back, I think only if he's ready, of course. But
yeah, because otherwise, the question is: do you save that pop for All Out?
Yeah.
Or do you use Kenny as it like?
Well, there's thought that he might even appear tonight.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
But something's got to happen at the end of the Moxley Jericho
Bucks match will take place next week, by the way.
Awesome. Can't wait to see that.
And then the last one that's been announced.
That does fit in the time frame that they would want to bring a Kenny back tonight to put into place. Like, otherwise, like, again, I don't know this has happened, but if Hangman's turned down their offer, or if they don't know who it is,
well, I'll let you know because I have like the live.
Yeah. If that pops up.
But you also have one more match that's been announced.
Oh, is there?
Yes, Death Triangle versus Will Ospreay and Aussie Open.
That will fuck. Do they? I mean, is it Ospreay like with Aussie?
Yes.
With the okay.
Aussie Open with Will Ospreay.
So that
versus Death Triangle.
And that's okay. So that's on the bracket.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see Pac and Ospreay more than I want to see that three-way. So it's either way, it's going to splinter off into something good. But preliminary guess on that would actually be because, the other teams, they're New Japan guys. Like, how long do they really want to, be over? All that stuff. So I think Death Triangle might actually take that. Good way to good way to rebuild them a little bit, though, if that's what you want to do.
We'll see. I don't know how many losses Ospreay is going to take.
Yeah, that's fair. But if he doesn't get the pin, I don't think he minds as much because he's already taken that one. He already took that one, and it would
But his only win was against Orange. Not that that's a bad thing, but
and it was a great match.
Sure, but at the same time, you need to maintain Ospreay's credibility.
How wild would it be if they went all the way? Like you had that new. I mean, that would be such a great swerve. I think, and what a way to introduce all of them to an American audience as well. People still don't know Ospreay as well as they should, myself included. I'm only really picking up the pieces of. Like, I'd seen stuff, sure. I'd watched, like, a few matches, but the guy has just been, like, He's been murdering it in Japan. Like, there's no other way to put
yeah.
it. There's no
Yeah,
other way to put it. And like him or hate him, fuck, he's good.
You are correct. Basically, what I am seeing here is that Hangman said that he will be in the Dark Order's corner, but didn't specify that he would be with the Dark Order.
Ah, keeping us dangling by a thread.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm honestly, I'm optimistic for Kenny. I still think it might be too soon. I still think it might be a little.
It might be.
You know,
I
don't
have
know.
no idea.
I think more likely what happens tonight is that we get the Punk return.
Right.
And I think that we get Moxley beating Jericho, and after we've got Wild Thing hitting, and we get the, Cult of Personality hits, and then we get a stare down or something to kind of like, all right, we know that's what we're getting for All Out. Because
I guess he's going to be in their corner, but he's not going to be participating in the tournament.
All right. Okay, so he's with neither team for the tournament. He's pretty much saying.
He won't be in the trios tourney.
All right. I don't know then. I mean, if it's not Kenny, who can the Bucks pick? Because they don't have any friends anymore.
Well, that's true.
They don't have any friends unless they pull they pull Switchblade or something. They could do that, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe?
they could, but he doesn't like them either.
He doesn't like them. Exactly. So that doesn't work.
Doesn't really work.
All right, I'll have to think about that one.
Oh, yeah.
Is it like Nakazawa? Because that's their only choice, and then that he's like the hindrance and he loses it for him?
They've already kicked Cutler and told him no.
Right.
So I can't see it being Nakazawa.
But that could be the way they get out of the, the obvious booking of Kenny, the Bucks winning the first trios tournament. They can win it down the line.
They job themselves around so that they have a different partner every week until and they keep firing them after every match.
I would be fine with that.
I could see that happening.
I could see that happening.
Until you get to All Out. And then Kenny shows up.
That makes more sense. I think the Punk thing is been a bit of a work. I think they have been working us with some of those leaks. I changed my tune a little bit since last week that it's maybe not quite as bad, and he was sort of putting it on at the Comic-Con and all that.
Well, he was wearing the walking boot, and then at C2E2 this weekend, he has not been in any sort of
So there's something going on there. I could see that match still happening at.
I think that match is happening at All Out,
and I think Punk wins if that's the case
in Chicago. Yes,
and then or. That's where you also get MJF returning, because one of the last things he said to Punk was, "I'm going to humiliate you in the worst way possible."
Yeah, it's true.
Like, eventually I'm going to humiliate you. And what better way than to either cost him the belt, in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then.
Do you want to see more MJF CM Punk?
I feel like if it leads to MJF actually getting a strap, yeah. Because the story needs to be that eventually MJF beats Punk for the belt. That's what I think the story has been since the go. So I don't know. I don't think they deviate from that, and I think that's why you haven't seen a lot of MJF on TV, because with Punk out, their stories are sort of intertwined. And
man, I feel like I feel like MJF is more of the $1 million man, where he's so good of a heel and so good at living the gimmick that he doesn't necessarily need to hold the world title.
Then there's I think you're right. Because I think ultimately that might not be the way they go. I think he will eventually, but it maybe doesn't need to be now. Who does need in the alternate reality something happens where CM Punk wins, but there's unfinished business with one Eddie Kingston, also ties to Moxley. Somehow, this could be a way to then get the belt onto Kingston, if only for a short run. Like, what if at All Out, somehow Kingston can get himself inserted so it's a 3-way? I don't love the idea of that 3-way match. But the result, if it could end somehow in Kingston getting the belt, would be kind of cool. I don't see it happening. I don't. I think this is long shot.
It's not. That's a Reddit theory that should just.
It's not even something I've read. This is just something I'm just.
I know, but like it's just.
I just want Kingston to have his like 2-month run, like his 2-3 month run.
I do too. It's never gonna happen.
You still don't. Yeah. The longer it goes, the more I tend to agree with you. Of course, like.
It's just like Kingston will end up with a strap that is not the world title. I don't think Kingston's going to hold the world title.
Tag. I mean, I still think he could do the tag champs with somebody.
Tag, trios, hell, even the TNT
could work. He would actually be a great TNT champion because he could have a bigger presence, be on the microphone a lot more. Like, that would actually suit him just right. Right now, we've also got the match between the new signee and coach. I know she was an Impact champion. Not super familiar with her.
Madison Rayne.
Thank you, Madison Rayne.
Yeah.
TBS championship match with Cargill. And Cargill, of course, still on her undefeated streak, will likely win this match. Yeah. But they're actually having like a much more developed match than the typical squash match scenario. So it's good
because she can lead Jade in the ring.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going on, and it's been going on for quite a few minutes. They're giving it a commercial break, so that shows you how long it's been going. Yeah. So this match will probably end up being a good 10-12 minutes or something, and I think Jade needs to start doing this more because the shtick's getting old. So I think it's time that they kind of move a bit with her.
You can only cover for her greenness for so long.
Yeah.
I love her, but
she's not having she's not having matches on what I'm calling now. I've got a new scale. Instead of Meltzer's 5-star ratings, or sometimes out of 10 points or whatever. I'm going by it's my new match scale, and we can find, this is what we're gonna call it, but this is the new official ONW match rating scale. Okay. It's called the Bang scale.
The Bang scale. I remember you mentioned this.
Yeah. So we're gonna start. We're on the Bang scale. This match is it's probably a 2 out of 4. But you can change it each time. You can change it.
It bangs 2 out of 4.
Yeah, it bangs 2 out of 4. So it all gets crazy math. It doesn't have to. It's just, and Bang scale isn't like how technical a match is. It's not like the story necessarily, although all those things can help. But you understand when this match bangs. Like, we'll get 11 out of 10. With what was that match we talked about earlier? The one was set for, I think, even before we started the podcast. I want to say there was one that was the tornado tag match, which did bang. There are certain matches. It banged. I need to watch it, with my full attention. But from what I could see, I could tell it was at least a 9 out of 10, like on the Bang scale.
On how hard this bangs.
Exactly how hard it bangs.
It's almost like a seismograph.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of like the Richter scale.
It's the Richter scale, but it's the ONW Bang scale.
The ONW Bang scale. The bangometer.
Points for how much it sets the world on fire, right? Like, we'll get to it in a little bit. Yeah. But a Brock Lesnar in a tractor picking up the ring rates pretty high on the Bang scale just for that.
God damn, that was fun.
I loved and hated it at the same time. Because I'm like, fuck you. You did it again. God damn it. You WWE with your vehicles, with your just,
Yep.
You do it every time,
His
right?
Brockness, man. Like I'm like, how do you keep making me like you? I want to hate you, and then here I am going. He's gonna drive this tractor to the ring. He's gonna
pick that ring up.
I thought that
I never thought he was gonna pick up the ring. I didn't
think he was gonna pick up the ring. I thought somebody was gonna get decapitated.
Oh, that was scary a few times when he was like F5ing him like right by it, and
Dude, like the scoop was 3 or 4 feet into the ring and like at forehead level for those dudes.
And good on them for having. I know this is a kayfabe cliche term, ring awareness, but for real though, right?
For having the
they knew this was part of the stunt and also an impressive part of the visual. Like they must. I think they thought of that. Like I think. That was kind of purposeful. Did you hear also? Did you hear also? I don't know how true this is, but stuff that's come out, a lot of people have said this and are reporting it as fact, that was Brock's first time even like driving that tractor. No need for a rehearsal. No need for this is how you start it. He just literally was like, "It's a tractor. Yeah, okay. I know it.
It's fine.
It's good. I can do that."
Yeah. Does that surprise you?
He's like, "What's the model?" He's like, "Yeah, I've got 3 of them." Like, probably like,
right. Or even then, it's just like it's a fucking tractor.
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of start the same way.
Yeah. There's a key and you turn it and you blah, blah, blah. And I mean, you got gears, you got scoops, you got levers for the ups and downs. And
everything has a fucking pictogram on it. Yeah. It tells you what it is. Fuck, you and I can both drive forklifts.
Exactly. And high reaches and all sorts of dumb shit we shouldn't be able to drive.
Here's what I thought was going to come into play with that tractor is I thought that he was going to like lower the scoop onto Roman or somebody was going to lower the scoop onto Brock.
To pin him, hold him down, or something. And that was
how the 10 count was going to happen.
Yeah, a little hokey because it's like the old was it the Rock Mankind forklift one
when they actually have the camera on the forklift.
His head's
that
there.
That was an amazing the empty arena match, wasn't it? I think it was the empty arena match.
It might have been. It might have been. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense for it to be. So yeah, but like. I could have told. I think I even had that thought while watching the match. I don't think that was. But I also think maybe I'm giving him too much credit. But no, I'm not here. I'm not. I don't think. I think they wanted us to think that. I think somebody wanted us to think that so that when that just ridiculous moment came and he rammed the ring first off, that alone is like you're taking a bit of a risk there. Like if they've not.
I don't think that he was supposed to ram the ring.
No, I don't think he was either.
I think he was supposed to get closer to the ring and then lift it.
Yeah.
And then he was just like,
went a little fast on that one.
Gave it a little too much gusto. Gave it the onion. That's what we call that one.
Yeah. Like it probably moved a good few feet.
Oh, it did. It definitely moved a few feet. And then he backed up and also, I got to say how impressed I was with him driving through that narrow ass rampway.
Yeah. It was pretty narrow. He didn't have much room for error. He did not
have much from the barricade on either side. Like I was like, well done.
Yeah.
Well done, sir. Yeah. Not that, it's Brock and a tractor again, but still the fucking, I'm like, he's going to, as soon as he rammed the ring, I was like, he's going to lift this bitch up. And I knew.
That was when it clicked.
Yeah.
So we got some interesting stuff coming up for this Friday on Rampage. Eric Redbeard has formed. He's formed a new tag team. I don't know who he's against. I think it might be the Ass Boys, but he's teaming up. That we've got Beardhausen coming up. We've got Eric Redbeard and Danhausen as a team coming up on Friday.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it at all. I don't hate it at all. And we were talking about the Truth Busters earlier. Davari is in that group. He's like the leader of that whole thing.
Yeah. I thought Parker was your homie.
He is. Parker Bordeaux. He's the only wrestler that I've followed that followed me back. So I like him now, and I've and he's responded with thanks to 2 of my DMs. Like,
you're sliding in DMs?
Oh, I'm just like, I think you're doing a great job, man. Keep up the good
amateur.
work. He said, Thanks.
Christ.
So yeah,
He said, "Thanks, Mark."
yeah, that's what he thought. But he was nice. But now, when I run into him at the gym, I'll be like, "Yo, man, I was me on the thing," and yeah,
The gym.
shut up.
I'm not. I will call a spade a spade. I wouldn't know how to do.
I got some weights now, man. I'm doing.
Oh,
some
your
weights.
1 pound weights.
Oh, I actually got some tenors.
You got the tenors
yeah,
now?
I finally got the tenors.
Okay, I'm proud of you.
But the 1 pound.
The fucking
these guys, they'll give you.
Yeah, they'll give you absolutely nothing. Your
Run
dong
for your
weighs
money.
more than that.
My beer weighs.
Yeah, fucking. I wouldn't know what to do if I walked into a gym. No. I know where they are because I avoid them.
Yeah, exactly. Teresa goes to, this. She's going to a new one. She's going to start going to the Y, I think. But she starts she knows some of the equipment now and all that. I'm like, good for you. Still don't want to do it. Good for you. I'll get there one day, maybe.
No, you won't.
We'll see. We'll see. Who knows? Speaking of Rampage, though, just backing things up because that wasn't quite. Well, there's a lot to talk about with WWE, and trust me,
Beardhausen.
We will get to it. Yeah, Beardhausen. That's fun. That's totally fun, and this is actually a sign of good things. There were a multitude of interesting matches. Daivari and Orange Cassidy, for instance, I think is coming up on a Rampage. So I think they're trying to get some of those numbers back, and they need to because they have been bad. Like Rampage is getting down into like the 300,000s, and I'm not sure. I don't quite understand all the demographic stuff, but I know that it's pretty bad as well. And
you're not the demo god.
I am not.
I don't wrestling.
Like I sort of get it, but I don't want to speak. I don't want to talk about things I don't know. Like in that realm, I don't.
Because I remember at one point you were just like, "Oh yeah," with the demos and the numbers, and I'm just like, I don't know what you're fucking talking about.
I know.
Bro.
I can understand total amount of viewers. That's easy, but I don't really understand. I know they're after the 18 to
18 to 49,
whatever demographic, and women are important. All that stuff gets a little like, how do you rate it to me? I don't really understand. But when, for instance, you do have like when Dynamite promotes itself well and has a big match coming up, like this one's going to do a good number. You'll hit like around the 1 million, like really good ones will hit the 1.2, 1.3, somewhere in there. But then I think your average is somewhere like 850,000, 950,000, just below that million mark, like in a lot of cases. When, Rampage is getting essentially a third of that audience, it's kind of like, oof, when it is your third hour on TV. It's also why like some of these storylines are slipping through the cracks with a lot of us because they are telling the stories, but they're telling it on Rampage, which we don't watch a lot of. Like the occasional one, like for me, if there's something, I have to see that main event or something like that.
If it's not pre-taped.
And then you have, and it usually is, and then they do stuff like the Battle of the Belts, like like they did this past week, and it wasn't very good. Like there was a lot that was just, I think that did even worse. I think that got into the 200,000s. Like it's pretty like, if I was TBS, TNT, I wouldn't be thrilled with some of these numbers, and they've got to do a lot to like, and I think this is AEW as a whole. Like AEW has a lot of great things going for it. One of the biggest things that they are, I think, guilty of now is having all of the results on the TV be very, very predictable.
Yeah.
Like we both would have called Darby winning tonight. I think we both would have called Rush and Andrade winning. We both would have called Jade beating, sorry, what was her name again?
Fuck.
It hasn't. I'm not familiar with her enough yet.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
It's okay.
You
had it earlier. Yeah, you had it earlier.
Yeah,
if it comes to you, let me know. And then I think like right now,
Madison Rain.
And I think it would be the logical conclusion that Moxley would win this match. This one, we're just getting started with that match, which is, I guess it's about the right time, with a half an hour left of the show.
Yeah.
So
Probably
yeah,
one
that's
or
about
two
right.
commercial breaks left.
Yeah. Longer than I thought maybe it would have been, honestly. But logical thing is, I think for most people would be Mox, to win this match.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's a huge reason for Jericho to win, and that's a problem. Like AEW
But it's
has.
the Lionheart Chris Jericho. It's not regular Chris Jericho.
Yeah, and he had a vest with Lionheart on it. I mean, whatever. Like,
yeah.
Okay. I missed Ricky Starks and Aaron Solo earlier in the night. Very predictable.
No.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to win that. Who's getting a push right now? Yeah, clearly Ricky's going to win that, right? So like every match I've talked about, apart from this one's the most in sort of flux, has been extremely predictable. They've been doing this week after week after week on TV, and it's kind of annoying. I think they save it for the pay-per-views, and they do a good job at surprising us on the pay-per-views, but they need to do more in the weekly television in that regard. They need to keep me guessing. And I think this is a good time to switch the analysis over to sort of what's been going on in the last couple of weeks since Trips has taken over full power on the creative side. And how they've been doing it, I guess, realistically since SummerSlam. I'll start and just say that one that was unpredictable, and I loved the way they got there and what they're doing, like as an instant sign of change, was what they're doing with the U.S. title and this past week's match with Ciampa and Lashley, because they did have me believing that Ciampa could win it. I thought it would be Lashley to probably retain. That would be your safe bet if you're betting money. But there was a chance here because, are we going to do something different? We've got Trips' boy as well in there. We've got all these things.
Right.
We've already...
And he came out in the Harley race robe.
Right. It was not an unbelievable thing that Ciampa could win. And in the context of the match, there were times where they had me biting, for sure.
Right.
So that, to me, is what is indicative about what is happening right now as a whole in the WWE. I wanted your opinion of it, if you agree with that. And am I crazy for feeling like this is a refreshed product and that I can have some hope in this?
It feels like the roster is reinvigorated.
You can see it in their performances.
Yeah.
Look at Kevin Owens this past week.
We can oh yeah, man. Like he murdered Ezekiel.
2015, 2016 Kevin Owens, where he's just literally like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Dude,
like he's nasty as hell.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And then just the people that he's brought back. Dude, I did not expect to see Karrion Kross.
Let's talk about everybody he's brought back and whether or not you just said it. You would not have expected to see Karrion Kross. Out of a lot of people that I would have expected to pop up on TV, he wasn't even a blip on my radar.
See, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think that once I read the initial story that WWE is considering bringing back Karrion Kross, I was like, oh, okay. I didn't expect to see him fucking Monday.
And with Scarlett, and with his hair, and in street clothes, and attacking Drew in the middle of a Drew Roman segment.
Exactly. And then Scarlett putting the hourglass in the ring with Roman.
Like, all of that is great. This is awesome. I'm not the biggest fan of Kross's style, I'll be honest. Like, I find him a bit boring at times in the ring.
Suplexes and elbows.
Yeah. And I don't dislike. I think if he can have an amazing presentation, and the NXT presentation was pretty cool. I think that even needed to be tweaked, but the way they tweaked it for the main roster was not what it needed to be.
Yeah, that was not good at all. But no, honestly, he just needs to be this just tough badass.
That's what he needs to be, and that's way cooler to me than like the pageantry of that entrance and what it was doing, right? Like it was cool, but then it becomes, you know what it needs to be? That entrance comes out every once in a while, like the Fiend, like not the Fiend, but the goddamn Finn Balor. What are you the goddamn
the demon.
The demon, thank you. Like that needs to sort of be his demon. Like big matches, he has that sort of entrance is like you know, like but he doesn't need that every week. Have him have even a completely different theme song week to week and sort of turn into that different sort of like it's nothing supernatural. It's just a mindset maybe you know, like I'd like that. I feel like if they're gonna do it with Kross, he's gonna get that every week. Like when he first wrestles, that's what he's gonna have, and that will be like his baseline. But we'll see, because we didn't expect what happened there, and like some of the other signings, it's not signings, but we heard Io Sky might have been on her way out. She was kind of like, she said that she wanted to work main roster. It didn't look like that was going to happen, and she was probably not going to re-sign and go back to Japan. That was like literally what she said.
Right.
A week later, she's on the main roster, and she's in a top-tier stable with a returning Bayley and a re-signed Dakota Kai. Another one that, okay, really happy they re-signed her. She's like, her kicks are something else, and like that girl can work for damn sure. I think Jericho just pulled like some hair out or something, like a chunk of hair out of Moxley's head. I think that's what happened. Right. Seems about right. And then showed the camera. But again, these are like, those are two. All right, awesome. That's going to work. I don't know that they need to be beside Bayley for even that long, but if it can just establish them on the main roster for a bit and get them over that hump, Bayley's a great person to do it with. I also think Bayley, like, I don't mean to be mean here, but she looks a little out of shape compared to, like, maybe I'm reading too much into that. She seems rusty to some regard. Like, and that's fair. Because she hasn't been in front of a live crowd since before the pandemic. She never got to be in front of a live crowd.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, I think she's a little rusty, and these two can also help her over that bridge. Great use of them. The one I'm really just perplexed with is, of all people, Dexter Lumis making his appearance the other night.
You know what? I love that Dexter Lumis is back. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't
Another
know
one
why.
That's not super entertaining in the ring for me, but I do like the character. It's got appeal that can work on the main roster level, because the stuff too that he was doing with the way and all of that was actually,
he's still technically married to Indy Hartwell.
I also like the way, we'll get back to him in a sec. It was just like, okay, like, of all people, him. All right, interesting. Maybe Trips just sees something in it. Maybe sees something in the gimmick. Maybe, you know, thinks that can fit in with the new writing. Someone suggested him. Whatever it was, the way he showed up was like sort of odd, because they didn't really acknowledge what was happening. You saw a scuffle in the crowd, and then he was just kind of like, you got a somewhat of a close up of him. It's like, oh, that's Dexter Lumis. He's being dragged out by security, and they didn't. It was good, because all night I watched the show live, and all night you were getting like these little backstage segments where they're not, instead of them standing by that fucking set they always stand by with the interview, where they were in the loading dock where they're like, Kevin Owens, as he has his interview, like, he has just had his match, he's done for the night, he's out of here, he's got his bag, he's wheeling it out. Kevin Patrick, you know, chases him down, and you know, what was all that about, Kevin? You know, and then you get the fucking badass Kevin Owens promo, but behind them there's this car wreck scene. where people are checking out this car wreck. There's been like this thing going on, and it's like a reoccurring thing. They never acknowledge it. It happens earlier in the night, and you can see like Dewdrop and Nikki Ash, like, what is going on over there? They're all looking at it, and it's in the background of some shit.
It's an unspoken thing that's happening all night through the show.
That apparently was what happened. Was Dexter Lumis broke in with his car, crashed security, smashed his car, and ran into the arena. And that was supposed to be like, that's the lead in for him, is to what I believe.
Don't hate it.
Don't hate it at all. And we only know that because they did one of those WWE exclusives, like, about that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
like, next week they will be able to show us that, and that'll be part of the story that develops into, maybe even open up Monday night. But great. Now we're telling stories. Now we're telling a story. Like, you've got me, even if it's not my favorite people. Like, I don't have anything against Kross or Lumis, but we're telling a story with these people that are actually.
I like both of them, and I'm glad that we're telling stories with them.
Well, and they're diverse characters. They're not my favorite wrestlers, but they are very diverse and very interesting characters that we can tell stories with, and that is what the WWF does at its best, at its core. And if we're getting back to that, I'm in. Like,
I'm sorry, what company?
Oh, well, I said it because I should have said that's what the WWF was. There was a reason I used that. I said WWF because that was what it was at its core, right?
Sure.
Like, I feel WWE has had that at, certain times, but it's kind of lost track of some of that. And if we could just kind of pull back into some of that zone, I think they're going to be a lot more successful. The ratings are up like 18%.
It's crazy.
But 18% over this time last year.
Yeah.
They're up 18%. That is phenomenal to me, doing that much better than you were last year. So, and that's the majority of just like the last couple weeks, but some of that's a slow build as well.
Yeah.
So
well, just think about like if we're getting this kind of stuff, these kind of payoffs right now, imagine what the long-term plans
they
are,
can
because
do.
He's got them.
Yeah, and what they can do long term. I know we talked in the past when this all broke down as to Vince being the puppet master. I don't think there's a chance in hell that's happening anymore, man. I think that's gone. I think that those thoughts are gone. Now we're up to close to, I think it's 19.6 million. They found an additional 5 million.
Another 5 million, yeah.
And they have to delay their quarterly statements and stuff like that to accurately reflect the discrepancies and all this shit. So,
yeah, it's not a little deal.
No, and he's gonna face some serious penalties, I think. Again, he has the money to face these penalties, so it's sort of a slap on the wrist, probably, is what he's gonna get in the long scheme of things. But
yeah,
we'll see. You're overall very happy though, like I am, with what they're doing, right? Like,
dude, absolutely. I think that it's all got potential, and like the one thing that all of the matches right now have a purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, other than just like here's the obligatory wrestling match that we're gonna have once per hour,
and we have Gunther and Shinsuke, I believe, on Friday for the IC title. So now we get the chance to do what they've started doing with the US title and making it mean something.
Yep.
Now we're doing the same with the IC. And you watch, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another one of those vignettes like we had for I'd like them to do something a little different to tweak the formula a little bit. But if there's some sort of package that highlights the IC title that can get us to remember how important,
lineage.
Because really, for me, that's my lineage of the IC titles. It's like my title, like growing up, right? US title, I understand that goes back further in a lot of ways, and it's a
Yeah,
different.
but like the U.S. title wasn't a thing.
No, not when we were kids.
No, it was a thing in WCW, and then it didn't become a thing until after WCW like became
absorbed
the
by
European title meant more to me than the
100%, because we didn't watch NWA. We weren't familiar with like territories and stuff. It meant a lot back then, but it didn't mean shit to us as like, 8-year-olds watching WWF.
Yeah, absolutely fucking not.
And yeah, I mean that the IC title most certainly did.
Oh, without question.
Like it, Sean with the white strap. Like it's like that's the visual
macho.
For me, like macho warrior, like
Brett.
Yeah, Brett. Like stories you can tell to kind of highlight that lineage are all there.
Yep,
they're all there. It's not, I mean, you can even go back to like the fictional invention of it with Patterson, like if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
All that stuff. So I hope they do that. I'll try and watch, SmackDown, and it's made me actually want to watch the shows, like just out of interest to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the pacing has been better, that the matches have been longer. Like,
yeah, they're actually giving them time to actually wrestle.
Trips has always been not only loved his women's divisions, but he's also booked them real well. Yeah. And we're starting to see that again.
Yep.
Think Bayley was going to come back with those two before Vince left?
No.
Me neither. Like, I don't think that was happening. So, like, that's an immediate, like, oh, we're changing this whole division overnight. Yeah. And he is. And now we have those, we actually have a bracket for those titles. We've got, not a lot of it makes sense, but all of this seems to be a way to highlight the women, right? Yeah. Like, we're going to get some decent matches out of it. We're going to get we're getting Zoe Stark with Nikita Lyons getting called up, probably not permanently, but for this tournament. And that will
champions.
That will showcase them, that will give them a chance in front of a larger audience. So that's all good. Like, so we're establishing reasons to have these women compete on television. So I like that.
Yep.
And then logically, yeah, you do have the winners of this tournament face Sasha and Naomi when they inevitably return.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we've actually built somewhat of a division, have some competitors for them, and those things can then spin off and spiderweb into other singles feuds, and we can have, just as a whole, this is good for the women's division, bar none, period, whatever, because now you can elevate a star within that system to be able to be a viable threat to a Liv Morgan or a Bianca Belair. Like, Becky's going to be off TV for a little bit. So, like, logically, we're going to have a Bayley Bianca thing.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like what it's looking like in my head. And back to what we were talking about like a bit before. Liv Morgan, not a credible threat.
Liv Morgan is not a credible threat to anything but a box of tissues.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm glad she's got her moment in the sun, but they probably need to move on from that fairly quick, is what.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think the fans have already kind of turned on it.
They were booing her this past week to the point where other wrestlers were just like, "Oh, they shouldn't be booing you." It was like, first of all, they're the fans; they can boo whoever they want.
Whoever they want, man. Yep. Don't be an asshole. But boo whoever the hell you want. Okay. So who else returns? It's the question, of course, everybody on the internet has asked a million times, but in your head, who are Duncan's? All right, we'll do 3 each. How about that? And it doesn't matter if they're the same ones.
Right.
But Yeah.
Gargano.
Gargano, yes.
I think
has
Gargano
to-
has to be like the number one.
and I still like my idea of a DUI reunion to take the belts off the
A
Usos.
DUI reunion.
DIY. God damn it. I had a couple drinks, so that's appropriate. Yep. No, a DIY reunion.
DIY.
DIY. Damn it. Why did I fuck that up so much? But no, it would be great with the shine that Ciampa's been getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a great, I think with the Street Profits thing going the way it is, like I don't see any other credible challengers for those belts to the Usos.
No.
So it would be a cool way to do it if they were to in fact do that. They could really use bolstering the whole tag division.
Yeah, they definitely could.
Who else you got? Fiend.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wyndham's happening at some point. I don't know how he gets repackaged. I don't know if they do repackage him, if he comes back as the Fiend, if he comes back as Bray. Part of me wants to see him come back as old school Bray.
Yeah.
Like
I don't necessarily want to see the Fiend as much as I want to see Wyndham.
I think I agree with that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do bring back the Fiend, because I think a lot of people would really dig that.
Right.
I also had a, harebrained theory that what if he comes back and he joins NXT for a little bit? Has a thing like with Gacy or something like that.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I don't disagree with that. I could see that happening.
Maybe that's a way to bring Gacy up to the main roster, somewhere along those lines.
Could be.
Also, if they're
who else?
If they're not gonna, like, here's a weird thing I kind of want to see, and we've said this for years. I wish they did a little bit more of crossover between NXT and the main roster.
Yeah,
and I think because not every pay-per-view gets a takeover, right?
Right.
And so I think on the pay-per-views that you don't have a takeover, put one or two matches on the main card from NXT, and that also will trickle down. It'll just more exposure amongst the brands, get people more used to these call-ups, get used to people, have someone involved from NXT on those shows where there's not essentially an NXT pay-per-view, which they're not even, of course, takeovers anymore. They're in your houses or whatever they call them, for each individual month. But yeah, that was just a random idea I had. As far as people coming back, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Braun come back.
With Kross coming back, I could see Braun coming back.
Yeah, it fits.
Because Kross was aligned with the control your narrative thing too,
so they clearly don't have much problem with any of that, really.
Right.
It'll probably shut that whole thing down.
Yeah, I'd assume.
I mean, yeah. I can't imagine. Well, he's not going to be allowed to work for it, and if another one, it's hard to even joke about saying the word defects because it doesn't feel big enough to use that term. You know what I'm saying? But if one of them, hops back into WWE, then yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. Because what do you got? You got EC3 and Austin Aries. Okay,
and Flip.
Good luck. Oh yeah, I forgot it. Yeah, okay, Flip.
Dude,
that's what you're doing.
Bring in Marty, god damn it.
That would be rad as fuck, dude. Just bring in that.
I'm just saying.
What a coup that would be. I mean, in a weird way, that would be dope. I don't really have any top of mind other than that. I mean, Sasha Bayley Sasha Naomi, those two to me are the ultimates in and of themselves, right? And we haven't seen them yet. So if that really happens, it's a big deal. And it sounds like it's happening, but we'll see. It still remains to be seen.
Yeah, so. I mean, if she could fix whatever the hell is going on with those weird like upper
eyebrow
eyebrows she's
things.
got
Yeah.
going on.
What is that? That is weird. Yeah, I don't understand that. Let me ask you this. So, with Triple H being a part of one of the, I guess not, biggest stables of all time, DX is, I mean, it's in the top.
It's among the top of the list, I'd say.
It's on the top. Yeah, it's not on the top, but it's definitely on the list. Do you think, much like AEW has had so much success with its stables, do you think we see a little bit more of that in WWE?
I think we need to see a little bit more of that in WWE.
I agree. I think it would make for more interesting reasons to have matches.
Yeah.
Jon Moxley has retained his title, by the way. He has
makes sense.
Defeated Chris Jericho. And Jericho, I will actually watch this match. It looked pretty good.
Yeah.
We have Jericho Appreciation Society goons running down to the ring. They're now beating up Jon Moxley, Sammy Guevara, and Jake Hager, by the way. Jake Hager's just like, let me on TV, please, every once in a while.
It's like, I need to do something, even though he's got a Bellator fight coming up in December, maybe? Like, so I don't think he's going to be doing a whole lot.
I think Jericho thought he won and picked up the belt. Now we have Blackpool Combat Club coming down and, beating the shit out of the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Right.
I'm just interested. Is this all that's going to happen for the end of the show? We got Kingston in there.
You got 4 more minutes left, so not necessarily.
Yeah. Like slowly bit by bit, we've got like members of each team that have kind of popped in. And,
it's going to be a rumble in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, wasn't this blood and guts? I think
basically
there's Jericho.
Minus the cage.
Oh, Jericho's going to hit Moxley with the belt.
Somebody's getting a fireball.
Someone should get wizarded.
Yeah. He's the Lion Wizard.
There it is. CM Punk return. Music just hit.
Oh.
Crowd erupts. CM Punk walks up. Yep, now he's walking down the aisle. Look, he's walking just fine. He's walking like a champ. Now he's beating up everybody coming at him. All the JAS guys.
Of course.
And then we're going to have a bit of a face-to-face with a Mox Punk. We'll see who's the real champ at All Out type deal.
Yeah.
Like we kind of talked about earlier. So,
yeah, but also, I mean, like, think about the history that Jericho and Punk have, too.
Yeah.
Like, there's still potential there.
Yeah, that could be a good feud for when Punk loses the belt to whoever that may be. Isn't it hard a little, like, it does feel a little weird now. I want Moxley to win, but doesn't it feel like he won't? Like, it feels like, ugh. They're gonna keep it on Punk?
I think Punk is going to win because they want to do that whole summer of Punk that they didn't get a chance to do. It's just now going to be like the fall of Punk.
The fall of Punk?
The autumn of Punk.
But actually, if it's the fall of Punk, and it is actually like leads to the downfall of Punk and a heel turn, ooh.
I mean, it could.
Ooh. I think eventually him and MJF are gonna align. It's another. I think if you want to turn Punk, it'd be an interesting way to do it.
Sure would,
and might be more interesting than seeing another Punk MJF match with an MJF victory. So,
yeah. Interesting.
I had a thought about someone who that's in AEW that would work in WWE and would work better.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have said some pretty obvious names like, Andrade should go back. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think maybe in time. Agree. I think in time maybe, but not yet, right? Like it's too soon. I got a weird.
Yeah.
I got a weird one for you. The Gunn Club. I think the Ass Boys would work awesome in the WWE.
They probably would.
They actually, I think they.
The fucking ass.
I think
boys.
the Ass Boys would work great in WWE. And if Billy ever wants to go back there, there's your shot.
Yeah.
Could
wonder if-
Hangman work in WWE?
Angsty millennial cowboy. Yeah, probably.
I think now he could. Not under Vince, but now he could.
No, now he could. Anything can work in WWE now because they don't have Vince going, I don't get it.
I weirdly had this thought the other day. What if Cody gets a stable?
Of former AEW guys
Yeah.
that were WWE guys, but then
Yeah.
they were WWE guys, then they were AEW
Yeah.
guys, and now they're WWE guys
Yeah.
again.
Even if they were just, I mean, it would almost be bigger if it was a homegrown AEW talent that crossed and joined. I mean, like an MJF, but
Right.
But yeah, more than likely it would have to be one of those that you're talking about, a double defection.
I know that they had Regal scout Brody really hard back in like 2018, 2019.
No shit.
Yeah. Like he was at PWG and that like definitely scouted Brody. So weirdly I could see the House of Black going to WWE.
Especially with Malachi's wife being there.
Yeah.
Buddy Matthews dating Rhea Ripley.
Right.
Brody.
You know who else would fit really well in the House of Black? Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. You could almost have them come in and you could actually you could do what was it? You could do like a stable absorption thing with the Judgment Day in the House of Black. The House of Judgment.
Yeah.
The House of Judgment or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The House of Black Judgment.
The House of Black Judgment. That's pretty cool. And then you could have and then you've got a New World Order type scenario on your hands, or a Bullet Club type thing, a dark Bullet Club. That's pretty dope. I think, I don't know, Malachi's probably still got a lot of time on his contract, I would assume, but
He might.
you never say
I don't
never.
know how long these contracts are, man. Like they're
Yeah.
probably 2 to 3 years, and like
and that goes by
shit
in the blink
goes-
of an eye, dude. Like,
how long has Malachi been signed already? Like how long ago did we see him and
Yep.
Cody in Jacksonville?
yeah, that's been a
That's-
year. It's
yeah.
been a year already. So he might have already absorbed, like if it was a 3-year contract, a third of it's done.
Right.
So that's an interesting point. I think it's the same with a guy like Miro. Like, I don't know how long he's signed to, but I could see Miro going back to WWE.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I
I
could
could
see
see
it.
Lana going back to WWE as well.
Yep. I think this thing, even with with Julia Hart right here that they did, I talked about earlier.
Yeah,
That could be a way to bring Lana in.
Oh yeah,
Or
sure.
CJ, you know.
Yeah, but she's not really a wrestler. She doesn't really want to be a wrestler.
She
So
does, or she used to always say I don't know what.
no, because like I read an interview with her this week, and she was just like, I don't want to learn how to do that shit. Like,
Oh, maybe she's changed her mind. She changed her tune a little bit because she used to talk that up quite a bit. I think for a while, like that was her thing. Yeah, I don't have much really to add, even though I know we've skipped over so much in the kind of weeks of wrestling that we've missed. But trying to think if there's anything really great with SummerSlam that happened. Logan Paul was incredibly impressive again.
Yeah, I wish I wasn't so impressed with him. Like he gets it.
He does. So we've had, over the last couple of years, the 3 big celebrities that have come in and have had matches. All of them have had great matches. You know, you had the Pat McAfee thing, you had the Bad Bunny thing, now you had now you have the Logan Paul thing. In your head, who's the best? It's Logan Paul. It's McAfee.
I don't know, man. Bad Bunny did a Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah, but he did a great Canadian Destroyer. But he did a few moves, and he you know, I feel like it goes Paul, McAfee, Bad Bunny. Not saying Bad Bunny did a bad job.
Honestly, like I think that I'd go McAfee, Paul, Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Yeah,
because I think that with all of McAfee's interactions combined, I think that he's had like the most sort of improvement and shown like basically the most impressive tenure so far. I think Logan Paul is unfortunately gonna surpass it though.
I think he's gonna end up with some form of championship.
Yeah.
Even if it's a mid-card belt. I
see him with a mid-card belt.
He's really popular, dude. Like
I know.
If that's nothing, just a business decision, it's still a good one. I support it. Do you want to? I know we're both getting the same updates. Do you want to? Our buddy Clint Globsky, our modern day Maharaja, he's chiming in after seeing Dynamite.
I think
give us his updates.
Well, basically, what he said, to be clear, he said that he loves that both AEW and WWE are stepping up. Agreed. Great time to be a wrestling fan. Also agreed. And to be clear, I hate CM Punk, but I love pro wrestling. And I think that, I will agree with that too.
Sure.
Because I fucking hate CM Punk anyway. Punk is back for ratings because Trips is running mad on creative.
Well, that's actually a really good point. I think that timing is not uncoincidental.
Sure.
You know?
No, I think it's absolutely right.
I think that we probably need to get things a little more fired up here, get more people interested in the product, especially as we're kind of ramping up to a pay-per-view. We need to have this Punk thing back, much like we talked about earlier. Like something had to happen tonight. Like that was a big one that will get a big ratings boost and will probably trickle over because he will probably open up next week's Dynamite.
I would assume.
Right?
Honestly, if they want to really boost ratings, they're going to have him open up Rampage.
I don't think they do that.
I don't think they do that either, but it's what they should do if they want to have any hope.
I feel like they'll save it for next week's Dynamite because a lot of people. Yeah, I feel like that's what.
I'm not saying I don't get it.
Yeah,
but we literally had the conversation earlier about how Rampage is doing such shit numbers.
It needs to be saved. I've heard a couple of thoughts that I didn't really mention. Someone mentioned, what if Rampage was made into a all women's wrestling show? I don't think that works for me. Like, I don't think that their division is strong enough to.
But then what are they going to do? Take the women off of
Dynamite? Yeah, that doesn't seem like a good idea to me.
I don't drive with that.
And as much as I've really grown to love a lot of women's wrestling, I don't know that I want just I think one of the things I love about AEW is its diversity, right? And its styles and its everything. So I'm not saying.
And we're going to get more of that with WWE too. And that's what I'm really looking forward to, is to see over the next couple months, to see what happens by Rumble, to see what happens at fucking Clash of the Castle, because all of those things where I'm just like, nah, Theory is going to walk out. I think that
all that's in flux now, right? Like all of that is really like,
and I don't know whether they're going to have Theory cash in and lose.
Yeah.
Or lose the cash-in briefcase to somebody else and go a completely different way. But I feel like one of those two things is going to happen now, because I don't think Theory's the guy that Triple H has that kind of faith in.
What about this theory? The Way is coming back.
Dude, give me the way.
And Theory, and all part of Theory. Yeah, you've got the whole way. You got you bring Candace back in. You have Johnny. You have bring up Indy. You've already got Theory. You've already got Dexter.
Dexter's not part of the way.
He's not, but he has very close connections to the way.
He's way adjacent.
He's way adjacent. They just brought him back. So what if that's what they do with this? It would also be a great way to somehow have the way do something stupid to cost Theory that briefcase or cost him his cash in, and keep Theory relevant. Keep him main roster, keep him in an entertaining program of sorts, but not have him be the champ. Because I don't think any one of us want him to be the champ just yet.
No.
We don't.
Just yet, just ever.
You never say never. It's wrestling, right? People change. But definitely not right now. Definitely not right now.
Head or ass don't deserve to be world champions.
Sure.
Allegedly.
This is the hard thing, man. Like they got to convict some of these people. Otherwise, I can't like.
No, but it just makes it easier for me to not like people that I already didn't.
You think that's the thing? Yeah, exactly.
It just gives me an out to never have to like them. Mm-hmm. Unlike the whole John Cena, Roman Reigns things, where I'm like, eventually, come around. Yeah. But like, by all intents and purposes, those are good guys.
Absolutely. The other thought that has been going around with as far as fixing Rampage goes is, what if that was turned into the Ring of Honor television show?
Yeah.
And of course, I've heard a lot. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of discussion of, well, they can't really do that. Because TNT, TBS, whatever, Warner Brothers, they signed up for another AEW show, right? Like, they didn't sign up for a Ring of Honor show. So it would have to be something very much discussed. But if there was ever the need for the fourth hour, and you had Rampage go to 2 hours, and then you had the last hour of it be the Ring of Honor's hour.
Yeah, but like WWE tried to do that with WCW and make like the last hour of Raw the WCW thing. I feel like it all
ends up blending over anyway.
Yeah, and kind of ends up cluster fucking together.
Yeah.
So as much as I don't hate that idea, and I want to see a Ring of Honor show, like
do you think I don't think that's a possibility. Like, because I don't think there's a place you can fit it in. Like, that's in the wrestling landscape right now, it's gonna be very hard to fit another national TV show in.
Ring of Honor needs to be a YouTube show.
A YouTube show with a quarterly pay-per-view.
Yep. 100%.
I think, and it serves as a step up from Dark or Dark Elevation. Still keep doing those. Still keep doing those if you want. It's a step up from that, but it's not the main roster, and there's its own storylines and own thing going on.
Yeah.
But there's interaction with the main roster of AEW or your Dynamites, your Rampages, right? Like that.
Absolutely.
It needs to be that filler piece, and you need to show pieces of what's going on Ring of Honor in little, like, bits and pieces on the main programming, so we understand a little bit, and it gets you to watch on occasion. And then it also, when you bring someone up, you're not completely clueless as to, there's Lee Moriarty. I mean, like, for a lot of people, never heard of that person, right? Like, you need to do shit like that to make it relevant. Otherwise, you're just going you're almost the Impact route. Like,
dude, it's funny because like I see Dark and Dark Elevation pop up in my YouTube feed all the time, and I'm just like, no.
I feel like they could ditch one. Like, Dark may not need to even be on YouTube. It could I feel like Dark and Dark Elevations should sort of be combined with the Ring of Honor thing. I think the Ring of Honor thing would work well as a studio-based show at Universal Studios where they tape dark. I think you can
I think it would as well. I think it would be well, but it's the Impact model, but the difference was that Impact had a TV deal.
Yeah.
But
if they could just get it on a streaming service other than YouTube, it might help. Like a
Roku streaming service or Amazon Prime.
Well, they have the whole deal with Discovery, and Time Warner just had their merger.
That's about to be a whole new thing too.
Whole new thing for AEW. HBO. Exactly. So throw it on there. That actually works quite well. I think that makes it a little bit more prestigious in a weird way than being a YouTube show. Then you can just continue just doing dark as a YouTube show, and that's for squash matches that are 5 minutes long that help talent just get in front of a camera and work and in front of a crowd, right? That, and that's fine, and that can exist still. And those people can get up to elevation where they're doing a dark match in front of a bigger audience, on the road. And then you've got your it's pretty easy to switch out the mats. Make Ring of Honor the Universal show. Do dark before it for a few matches. Like, you could throw those in, interchange, and then I don't know. That would be the way I do it. So much shit.
I know.
So much. It's a lot that went on this week, and again, we missed a ton of it. That's the thing.
We'd have to do like a 3-hour show every 2 days to really catch up on everything that happens in wrestling. Thank God there hasn't been any colossal scandals other than, the extra $5 million.
Yeah, just more Vince.
Yeah, more Vince stuff, which is just kind of like old man yells at clouds. Water is wet. Florida sucks.
I know people were pissed off at Tony Khan, for dancing at Sammy and Tay's wedding and all that, and like
what's he supposed to fucking do?
Right. Okay, you can say what you want to say about Sammy and Tay, and I think it is kind of a little bit skeezy. Let's not be real. Let's not beat around the bush.
It's total scumbaggy.
Yeah, but that's their lives. That's their
who
lives.
Gives a fuck? It's their lives, not ours.
And it's their fucking wedding, and Tony's invited to their wedding, and Tony's just gonna be.
Why are they mad at Tony?
Yeah,
who? Seriously, I haven't read anything about this.
Just the general internet, the people of the internet, a lot of
because
them.
He's their boss.
And not everyone.
I don't understand. It just doesn't. That doesn't. Why?
Yeah, I don't get it either. I really don't get it either.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's a weird place to be. I also saw a little snippet of an interview with, I think it was Chris Van Vliet and JR, and how JR straight up was just like, what do you say to people? I think the question was to JR, what do you say to people who talk about competition between AEW and WWE? And he's like, first off, it's not competition. It's never going to be competition.
Exactly.
It's never going to be competition. We provide a different product for a different audience. We provide, he's like, okay, so let me put it in perspective. Just because I'm the coach of, what did he say? He was talking about basically the Dallas Cowboys and all of them. And he was talking about essentially a minor league football team. He's like, those guys, they get, sometimes 15,000 people in their seats, and they make a lot of money, and they have a great business, but guess what they're not doing? They're not putting the Dallas Cowboys out of business. And the Dallas Cowboys are not scared of you can work, there's room for more than one is 100% what he was saying.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more. And I think more wrestling fans need to approach it that way.
It's that plurality of accepting that there's more than one, right?
It's this tribalism bullshit that infects every aspect of our goddamn lives, right?
Yep.
It's something that I think that Americans more than most are actually a little just ingrained into. You know, it's sad to say. Don't want to bring any of it in here. You know the deal, but yeah, it's you know who AEW and WWE are really at war at. They're not at war with each other. They're at war with other television ratings. They're at war with Shark Tank. They're at war with the basketball game over here, or
Exactly.
or the
hockey game
over here.
Yep.
That's what they're at war with. They're not in war because they don't go head to head anymore. They're not at war with each other. They're like even when NXT and Dynamite were on the same night.
Right.
Even then, that was the closest to the war being a war. They were two completely separate products, two completely different animals that you were watching. Yeah. And even then, those two things were still at war with Shark Tank and the baseball game and the hockey game and whatever, right? Like, I keep saying Shark Tank because it's always like right there in like the top two. Like,
it's either Shark Tank or Shark Week, right?
It's something, but it's funny what you start understanding, like when you do listen to, because that's what Dave Meltzer is good for, right? He's good for sort of like, I don't believe everything that Dave says. I think a lot of it he's fed misinformation. I think Dave's good at what
it was like Dax earlier this week. He's like, Dave, with all due respect, fuck off.
Yeah.
He's just like, and I mean that, like, truly with all the love and respect in the world, but you know, just fuck off, man.
But he can at least put into some perspective what it like. He understands the TV business side of it, right? Like he understands that type of deal. And then it goes, okay, so that's an interesting little segue. Talking about like the whole TV business, let's talk a little bit about who has been let go and who hasn't, because we do still have in the TV business side, motherfucking Kevin Dunn is still like, he's still employed. He's got to be the last one, right? He's got to be the next one to go.
I would think, man, unless he doesn't.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of the G1 highlights here and there. But you know what's sad, dude?
Dude, Jonah beat Okada.
Jonah beat Okada?
Jonah beat Okada.
Holy shit. They're pushing him hard as fuck.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
Thick boy.
All right.
Thick boy could come back too. That's one I could see coming back with Tripp signing. I can also see
after this run in Japan type deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could potentially see Keith Lee getting the run he deserves in WWE.
I think it's too late. I think they burned too many bridges with him. I don't know.
They could have.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it with Keith.
The whole thing is like all of these were Vince booking decisions, and Vince being like, well, let's give him a stupid name and a stupid
I take
gimmick.
that back. Keith Lee has said nothing but good things since leaving the company and how they treated him when he was going through his health scare. So there might be the possibility there. But no. So going back to the G1 and watching just a few clips and stuff, and this ties into the Kevin Dunn thing. Dude, they're doing the occasional like zoom, like bouncy camera on like hits and stuff, you know, when they're doing it. I don't know if it's just on certain, like if that's just for an English feed or something. I don't know, but I've always appreciated some of the way they've kept it feeling more of a sport, and it's like you've got very, you know, stern and, you know, not grandiose cameras. It's simple, and this was like, oh wow, that's a very Western style. Like,
speaking of film styles and New Japan, you know how Okada has his signature camera shot, right? Where he throws his
it's
arms
the
out
thing
and then it zooms out.
It's the big
I was watching a Guar video from when our friend Dave was still alive. And he does that. He like throws his arms out and the camera zooms all the way out, and I'm just like, did the editor know? Like,
you never know. You never know.
But it was just one of those things, and immediately, like, I just view Dave as
Okada.
yes, but like the jizz reign,
Oh, that would be yes.
yeah,
If only Dave
jizz
could have
rainer.
been a pro wrestler. I mean, he was
seriously.
He was.
I mean, they did have the Intergalactic Tag Team Championships. That was one of their storylines one year. So,
And just a little side note, I haven't listened to it yet, but you might be interested because I know you don't check your podcast feeds that often. But Jericho has just released a podcast about Guar's new endeavor, whatever that may be. There's a
documentary.
I think it's about the documentary.
Yeah. Let There Be Guar.
That's it. Yeah. So it's an
I'll
episode.
have to check that out.
Yeah, I meant to mention that to you earlier, and I kind of forgot. So
no, I mean, I have it in my queue to watch. So it's just I've wanted to watch it with Kelsey. So it's on Shudder.
Okay.
So
all right, it's paid though, isn't it? Shudder.
Yeah, Shudder is like the horror streaming service.
Right.
So it can be found.
Oh, I'm sure.
Is all I will say.
Oh, I'm sure. I feel like I missed making my John Laurinaitis. That was the last thing.
Oh yeah, you know what? Good riddance to that piece of. Piece of trash.
It felt like that was going to happen sooner or later, and they were just waiting for the board of directors probably to find some shit about him and get him out of here, and that's that. But from everything and every analyst across the board right now, Duncan, everyone is saying, I think this is probably it's not like there's any dissension here. I think everyone is saying we will never see Vince again in the WWE.
Yeah. No, he is gone. He gone. He's Benoit gone.
What the fuck does he do, man? He's
work out until he dies.
I'm sure he's still gonna work out, but this is gonna cut his life short, right?
Yeah.
This is the type of thing when this happens all the time when you get elderly, like. You find that you become useless, or you feel useless, and you sort of just
and then you lose your time, you lose your energy, you lose your drive. Yep.
Yeah, and
WWE is what was keeping him alive and youthful.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. Honestly, like it's probably why he held on for so long, being so out of touch. I think he probably did by the end know he was out of touch. He wasn't going to give it up, like, unless he was forced to do so. But I think he was getting to the point where he's like, yeah, that's probably like I'm not with it or what have you. And,
yeah.
I think that was coming. I think we maybe had another 5 years of Vince or something if this didn't happen, but I don't think it was going to last forever. And I think he was maybe always a little reluctant to hand over the reins to Trip Steph type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But when everything went down, he's like, well, I mean, that's the best people I got. Like, I have to give it to someone. Well, might as well be, you know, and I like what they said. Actually, I mean, it's very WWE PR for sure, but I kind of appreciate the sentiment, and it was kind of leave things here actually. But it was basically Trips and Steps saying, we don't know how to do it like he did it.
Right.
So we're going to have to just do it our way.
Which is the best thing for the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the most excited that we've been in a long time. We've talked a lot about WWE tonight and the possibilities. I think you're going to have a lot of things fire back up. I think the next couple of years, like, this could be as exciting as when AEW was like in its fruition and blossoming and people were going over. We could see in a few years the thing the other way. We could see a new developing company, and I say a new developing company, but like in a sense, like a new developing company within one
new renaissance, you know?
Yeah. And fuck, like I kind of just feel bad for Impact and shit like that, but who's to say? Maybe we could have maybe this could also
I don't know,
be...
man. They're literally their entire budget is going to paying the Good Brothers. So
yeah, exactly. But who's to say that with Trips in charge, maybe we don't have more doors and forbidden doors open, right? Like,
right.
Maybe that idea of the Super Show can exist, and I want to live in a world where I think it's possible, like rather than a world where I'd rather live in a world where it's unlikely but possible rather impossible. Put it that way. And I think that's where I stand with WWE. Is I'm still gonna have to take it with a grain of salt. I'm still gonna have to watch it kind of cautiously. It's like, just because that's what I do every time now, right? You watch it and you're just like,
because we're like still gonna spouses where we're just like, oh, it's good. What's not good?
You can't ever let yourself actually think that cool thing would happen. But then again, Dolph Ziggler gets a win in his hometown this past Raw. So against Chad Gable, and I really think Chad Gable should have got that win, and it was best match on that Raw. Not a lot of people are talking about it. I mean, there was a lot of good matches on that Raw, but this was actually the best match on Raw.
Yeah,
was Chad Gable and Dolph Ziggler. And if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It's fucking phenomenal. They're amateur styles. Like, if you like catch to catch wrestling, if you like an amateur background kind of evolving into a story and it was just great. Like, I would watch that. They need to build that as a feud. I don't know what they're doing with Dolph, but it seems like they're pushing him. I just hope they push him alongside Chad Gable to use Dolph to get Chad to that next tier.
Okay.
That's what I hope they're doing, but I don't know. I guess I never heard this in the past, but I guess like Trips and Dolph are like boys too. Like, there's a thing
I did know
there.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep.
He's like, oh, you're my mini Sean. Oh, you're you're my mini Sean.
Anything else you want to add, buddy, before we get out?
No, man. I think I'm all good.
Yeah, I think we covered enough nonsense for the evening. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you did join us on twitch.tv/ONRS Live, you can also, of course, find us on our podcast feed. That's just OhnoWrestling.com or wherever you find your podcast. Just type in that little Ohno Wrestling dealie, and you find it. It's there. There's me and Duncan on a WWE title belt to lead you the way. That being said, if you ever want to leave us a voicemail, don't forget to do that over at 407-906-6466. Those are always welcome. I will play them if I get them. Trust me, I will. We love your questions. We love your insights. We want to be part of the community. Speaking of the community, that's over at facebook.com/groups/Ohno Radio. Oh, no, wrestling. My bad. I caught myself. Everything can kind of be found over at ohnomedia.com. And Duncan, what do we say when we get out of here with these bad boys?